Yesterday evening, Keir Starmer held what Downing Street has diplomatically termed a productive phone call with President Donald Trump. Yet behind the careful phrase lies a mounting anxiety in Whitehall, a fear that the United Kingdom may be clobbered by the wave of Trumpian tariffs and the potential to hammer British industry, unravel budget forecasts, ignite a transatlantic trade war at the worst possible moment. And at the centre of their discussion was the proposal, the UK-US economic prosperity deal, a rather ornate name for what is in essence a desperate attempt to secure exemptions from Trump's looming tariff regime. And the US president is preparing to declare April the 2nd his so-called Liberation Day, not from tyranny but from multilateral trade agreements. The UK, which finds itself particularly exposed in this moment of nationalist economic brinkmanship, is trying to negotiate its way out of the line of fire. Trump has already announced a 25% tariff on imported vehicles, targeting precisely the kind of high-end British goods, Rolls-Royce, Aston Martins, that form the backbone of Britain's prestige exports. And this could be merely the appetizer. Pharmaceuticals, steel, and even digital services could follow, with British car exports alone facing losses of up to £8 billion annually. Now, unlike the EU, the UK has thus far refused to retaliate. And Starmer's government is attempting a delicate diplomatic manoeuvre, offering dialogue, restraint, and perhaps a strategic concession. One such bargaining chip may well be the UK's digital services tax, a levy on the tech giants like Amazon and Meta worth £800 million annually. There is speculation that this may be watered down or scrapped altogether, not out of economic logic, but as a sop to Trump's pro-Silicon Valley instincts. What's curious here is not the transactional nature of Trump's diplomacy, that's well established, but the new tone from Downing Street. Starmer, often described as legalistic and cautious, is adopting the language of pragmatism with steel. His team insists that no option is off the table. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper confirmed as much on Sunday, warning that while Britain is still hopeful of a deal, it is prepared to respond with sharp teeth if necessary. And it's a mix of carrot stick and clenched jaw, and herein lies the tension. Retaliatory tariffs may satisfy domestic bravado, but would ultimately do more harm to the UK economy than to the US. And economists such as Jonathan Portes and Sir Crawford Falconer have warned that playing hardball risks undermining growth and wiping out the modest fiscal headroom that Rachel Reeves carved out in her spring statement. The Office for Budget Responsibility estimates a full-blown tariff war could shrink UK GDP by 1%, a staggering figure, particularly given Britain's already stagnant productivity post-Brexit. So, what are we to make of this phone call? First, it's a remarkable fact that Starmer and Trump are speaking directly, regularly, and with apparent mutual recognition of the stakes. That is no small feat, given the president's unpredictable style. Second, it underscores the limits of Brexit-era delusions. The long-promised UK-US trade deal has become a mirage. Successive conservative governments chased it, only to discover that Trump's America, Biden's America, is not the philanthropic empire, but the protectionist fortress that it is now thrown up to resemble. Finally, the Ukraine dimension mustn't be missed. Both leaders agree to continue collective pressure on Putin, and Starmer updated Trump on recent meetings of the so-called Coalition of the Willing in Paris, as Russian drone strikes killed civilians in Kharkiv, and Putin floated the idea of a transitional government in Kyiv. Trump, for once, struck a hawkish tone, expressing public frustration with Putin and floating secondary sanctions on Russian oil. I'll come to that one later. Whether this is a change in substance or mere posturing remains to be seen. But the Starmer-Trump call is a high-stakes chess match disguised as a polite phone conversation, and the polite diplomacy of staying in touch in the coming days masks a brutal deadline, April the 2nd, when tariffs could descend like a guillotine on UK exporters. Britain's challenge is to preserve economic sovereignty while appeasing a president who, to quote one official, prefers to roll out the pain before negotiating it away. If Starmer pulls this off, avoiding tariffs, softening the blow, and securing even a narrow prosperity accord, it would mark a rare diplomatic coup. If not, Rachel Reeves may find that the cost of Donald Trump's Liberation Day is fiscal captivity for the UK.